In this video I will be going through the basics of plotting two vectors or two arrays, and I'll be going through each step of this code on the left hand side. So the first thing we do is we create a vector called x that contains 11 elements, and they are the numbers from 0 to 10. Now we want to create the vector y, which will in the end also have 11 elements, so it will be an element to element operation. Notice the dot exponent in the first term, and that makes it an element to element expression. So we're going to calculate y for each element of x. So let's go through this step by step. So when x is 0, y calculates 2 times 0 to the power 2 plus 5 times 0 minus 3, which is 0 plus 0 minus 3, which ends up in minus 3. So the first element in y is the value for y when x is 0. So the first element in the vector is minus 3. So an element to element, it means that x now moves to 1, and we calculate y for x equal to 1. So it's 2 times 1 to the power 2 plus 5 times 1 minus 3, which ends up being 4. So in element 2 of the y vector, we now put the value 4. So we carry on, we move to the value 2, the third element in the x vector. We apply to the expression and we get the value 15. This we do right to the last element of x, which is 10, and if 10 is put into that function for y, it ends up being 247. So now we say plot x and y. So the horizontal axis on this graph is x, and you'll see it goes from 0 to 10, and the vertical axis on this graph is y, which starts at minus 3 and goes right up to just below 250, 247. The next three commands are basically used just to add some text to the graph. So the title is just used to give a title of the graph, and then we can label the vertical and the horizontal axis. In this case we simply say it's the x values and the y values. But obviously we could put in any text for these three commands. Lastly, we simply say grid on, and you will see that the grid is switched on and we have a grid on the graph.